What is up, guys? Mounty here from Mount GT, back again with another video. And if you've been following me on Instagram and Twitter, then you know that I have had my hands on a pair of AirPods Pro for a little while now. The AirPods Pro sit in between Apple's earbud headphone lineup, with the AirPods Max at the very top of that lineup and the regular second generation AirPods sitting at the bottom of that lineup. Anyways, I've had my hands on these for a little while, and I figured it would be cool to kind of test them out for a couple weeks and see what I think about them. I remember when they initially came out, I was very, very shocked at the price. I was surprised that they were jumping from about $160 for just the regular AirPods to $250 just based on noise canceling alone, because these were actually rated, I believe, at around half an hour less battery than the regular AirPods. And the only thing they added was noise canceling. There's no better battery, no extra features compared to the second gen AirPods, except for noise canceling. And so I thought that $250 price jump was really interesting, considering that the 2020 Pixel Buds that came out, I believe, around a year or two after, sported obviously Google Assistant integration, but adaptive sound, which I thought would be kind of like noise canceling. And then in addition to that, volume controls, and I'll talk more about that later. But this video is just going to be going over my experience with the AirPods Pro compared to my experience with the 2020 Pixel Buds that I've had for close to a year now, as well as a new pair of earphones that I picked up, the Sony WF-1000 XM3. And I'll have a separate video out about these a little bit later. But let's go ahead and jump into my experience with the AirPods Pro. So for reference, I completed most of my testing on the AirPods Pro with an Android phone, an Essential phone running Android 11, a custom ROM, paired with the Assistant Trigger app. And if you use AirPods on Android, you're probably familiar with Assistant Trigger. It's an app that allows you to have almost all of the features of any pair of AirPods or Apple device with the H1 chip on an Android device. So that means when I open up the case, I get the pop-up of the battery. I can take the earphones out to pause them, and I can use them to trigger Google Assistant. So most of my testing was completed on an Android phone, but I also do have an iPhone 7 Plus running iOS 15 that I use to evaluate some of the iOS specific features like spatial audio, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'm not going to jump right into noise canceling, we will get to that, but what I'm going to go ahead and talk about first is the most important thing for any pair of earbuds, whether they are wired, wireless, over-ear, or just truly wireless: the sound quality. Now I've tried a lot of different pairs of earbuds, both wired and wireless. I used the Anker Soundbud Slim for quite a while, as some of you may know if you've been watching this channel for a little bit. And out of all of the wireless earbuds, at least, that I've tried, I would say that the Pixel Buds sound the best. It's kind of a toss-up between the Sonys and the Pixel Buds, but I would say the Pixel Buds sound the best, even without the bass boost option in the Pixel Bud settings. I think they sound the most balanced out of any earbuds I've tried, you know, AirPods, AirPods Pro. There's also a good amount of bass behind them, and I can hear like different parts of the songs very, very clearly. Now, when it comes to the AirPods Pro, how it stacks up against the Pixel Buds, and my experience with them, the sound quality on the AirPods is really, really good. I don't think it's quite on the level of the 2020 Pixel Buds, but it is really, really good. It's definitely a huge step up from the regular AirPods, and most of that is in thanks to the fact that the AirPods Pro, and as you've probably seen a pair of AirPods Pro, they use like actual ear tips, just like the Pixel Buds do. So instead of just resting in your ear like the normal AirPods do, AirPods Pro use these ear tips to create a seal. Now that helps with noise canceling, but even with noise canceling off, that seal helps to passively cancel out noise, and it does improve sound quality. The sound quality is much better than the regular AirPods. The bass is a little bit heavy, but it's a little clearer than regular AirPods, and the different parts of the song are also heard more clearly. Now, I will say there is a difference in audio quality when you're running in noise canceling versus when you're running in transparency mode. When you're running in transparency mode, which makes sense, transparency mode allows you to hear, the surroundings around you while still having the earbuds in your ears. And so that kind of has a weird effect on your music. It makes things sound kind of hollow, which is to be expected. You're getting a lot of outside noise in on purpose, so it's going to kind of diminish the quality of your audio. But if you're listening to your audio in transparency mode, you probably don't care too much about exactly how your music sounds at that time. You're probably more worried about what's going on around you and not wanting to miss anything. So I'm not going to judge it too harshly based on its sound quality in transparency mode, but its sound quality with noise canceling on, and even with like noise canceling and transparency mode turned completely off when it's just the earbuds themselves, the sound quality is really, really good. It's not like I had to get used to lower sound quality coming from my Pixel Buds. Sound quality on the AirPods Pro, I would definitely give it probably an 8 or 9 out of 10 with, in reference to the Pixel Buds, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. I'm kind of using these as a benchmark. I'm going to try not to make this a full comparison between the two. But just in that particular category, in comparison to the Pixel Buds, I think that these do sound really, really good. And if these were the only pair of earbuds that I had, just based on sound quality, I would be very, very happy with the AirPods Pro. Now, I mentioned transparency mode and noise canceling when I was just talking about the sound quality, so I guess now is a good time to talk about the noise canceling experience. So when I first heard that the AirPods Pro came out, and I heard that they had noise canceling, I was like, wow, that's kind of cool, but there's no way it's like good noise canceling, right? I've tried a pair of noise canceling Sony headphones, I've tried a pair of noise canceling Anchor headphones, and so I wasn't expecting the AirPods Pro noise canceling to be as good as it was. When I turned it on for the first time, it's kind of shocking how like dramatic the noise canceling effect is, especially like switching from transparency mode to noise canceling. Obviously, if you switch from noise canceling off to noise canceling on, the difference isn't going to be as great, mainly because the ear tips already passively cancel out sound. But switching from transparency mode to noise canceling was a huge change that I wasn't really ready for. Now, compared to those over-ear headphones that I had tried that had noise canceling, it's obviously not as good of an effect as that, right? Those are over-ear, they completely cover your ears, so the noise canceling on those, just based on design alone, purely is going to be far better than AirPods Pros. But these, I mean, just the amount of things that it can block out, like even if I'm like standing right next to like a source of sound, like my air conditioning unit is kind of loud, you can probably hear it through the microphones. Standing right next to it with the AirPods Pro in completely cancels it out. And once you turn your music on, I mean, there's no chance you're going to hear anything around you. Now, part of the reason why I have these Sonys, and part of the reason why I bought them, is to compare the noise canceling on these to the AirPods Pro. The noise canceling on the AirPods Pro, I think, might be a little bit better than the Sonys, and the transparency mode is definitely way ahead of the Sonys. I haven't tried transparency mode on many other pair of earbuds and headphones, but Apple has really done their thing with transparency mode on the AirPods Pro. Especially with how easy it is, you just squeeze and hold the stem to turn on transparency mode, or to switch between transparency and noise canceling. It's easy to access, and it works really, really well. I can hear things really clearly, whereas when I'm wearing these and I turn on their equivalent of transparency mode, things aren't as clear and they don't sound as true to life. Going in hand with transparency mode and noise canceling, so if I put both AirPods Pro into my ears, currently these are running in noise canceling mode, so it's kind of weird, like hearing my voice inside myself, and I really can't hear my air conditioning unit, right? And then you can hold on the stem to enable transparency mode, obviously. Now, when you take an AirPod out of your ear, when you're running in noise canceling mode, what it does is it switches the AirPod that's still in your ear, it switches the noise canceling off. What that does is it releases the pressure in your ear, since one of them is no longer in your ear and they don't have that perfectly pressurized noise canceling sensation. It removes the pressure from your other ear, so you don't still feel that weird pressure in your ear, and then once you put it back in, you kind of get that pressure again, and then the noise canceling kicks in. But the pressure, like that like weird pressury feeling, like kind of like if you were taking off in an airplane, it's like almost unnoticeable when I'm just like wearing the AirPods and listening to my music. And it's nice because when I take it out, I don't feel that pressure in my ear because it just turns off noise canceling. That's definitely something that I think any other company looking to make noise canceling earbuds should take into account. It's not like a hard thing to implement. You know, the sensors on the earbuds can already detect when they're in your ears, so it's not really hard to implement. One of the earbuds is taken out, turn off noise canceling. The Sony's, the XM3s do not have that feature. Again, this is not the newest iteration of their earbuds. The X Mark IVs do exist. Haven't had a chance to try those out. But I really wish that these had that feature, because when I have noise canceling on with these headphones and I take one of them out, noise canceling is still on the other earbuds, so that pressure feeling is still there. And then with the pressure feeling in general, it's much more dramatic. Like it's more noticeable than it is on the AirPods, which leads me to not being able to wear these as long as I can wear the AirPods Pro. Speaking of how long I can wear the AirPods Pro, let's talk about comfort. Now again, I'm kind of using the Pixel Buds as a benchmark because one of the things that I really, really like about the Pixel Buds is the fit and like how comfortable they are. I can wear them up until the point that they die because they don't really get uncomfortable in my ears. Now for my first little bit of testing with the AirPods, I was testing them with the medium tips and I didn't have access to any other sizes. And so what I found was that it wasn't so much about them being uncomfortable, but more that they would come out of my ears if I didn't put them in just right. I would kind of have to like shove them and like twist them just a little bit to get them to stay, like on bike rides and stuff. But for my last little bit of testing, I switched to the small ear tips, and I mean, just putting them in is a lot simpler. They definitely stay in my ears, and they feel just as secure as the 2020 Pixel Buds. So in terms of comfort and fit, as long as you get the right tip, the right size ear tip on your AirPods Pro, you'll have no problem with the fit. They're definitely designed a lot better, in my opinion, than the regular AirPods. I guess mainly because of this like longer, kind of like bulbous shape of the earbud itself. They definitely fit a lot better than regular AirPods do. They're way more comfortable, and I could wear these for the entirety of their battery life and not have any concerns about them being uncomfortable or them falling out of my ears. I'm not sure I would work out in them. They are IPX4 water resistant. I'm not sure I'd work out in them. I'm not that confident in them staying in my ears. I would work out in these, and I have. But for just like walking, going for a light jog, or bike riding like I did with these, I'm not really concerned about them falling out, and I'm not concerned about them getting uncomfortable after extended periods of listening. Now, switching gears to more of the special features. Obviously, you can go out and buy any cheap $10, $20 pair of wired earphones or $5 pair of earphones. You can go on Amazon and find a whole bunch of Bluetooth earbuds for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. What sets earbuds like the AirPods Pro and the Pixel Buds apart from those offerings is their special features. Now, I will say I took advantage of every feature available on the AirPods Pro except for Siri, because I hate Siri. I don't use Siri at all. And I didn't use Siri at all in my testing with the AirPods Pro paired to the iPhone 7 Plus. I know that they offer a feature where you can have your notifications read out to you and stuff like that, which the Pixel Buds do with the Google Assistant. But I didn't really use any of that because I don't use Siri, and this isn't my main phone anyways, so I don't really get that many important notifications that I would have wanted read out to me anyways. But I took advantage of every other feature available on the AirPods Pro. Obviously, noise canceling and transparency mode, taking an earbud out to play and pause. But I think one of the coolest things on the AirPods Pro that isn't on any other earbud as far as I know of, and probably won't be for a while, is spatial audio. And so what spatial audio does, and here, I'll take my AirPods out connect them to the iPhone and show you guys kind of what that experience is like. It's not something that comes across easily over camera. It's kind of like an experience thing. So this works in any application that plays audio, whether it's YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. I've tested it in all three of those applications, by the way. So when you're listening to your music, so let me go ahead and start up this song here and turn down the volume so I can still hear myself. So when you're listening to music, you can go into the control center and hold down on the volume control, and you'll see right there, spatialize stereo. And so what that does is, relative to where your head is, the music follows you. So I turn my head, and now most of the music is here, but I can still hear it a little bit here. And then when I'm back in the center, it's equal, and then I turn my head again, more over here. And so it's kind of like, think how in a movie theater, you will have like the stereo sound, and like depending on where you focus your attention, that's where that's where you will hear certain sounds. And that's really, really cool. I really wish that I could use that on the AirPods Pro on my Android phone, and obviously I can't. The software isn't there for it. But it's a really cool feature. Like, even the feature works best if you have noise canceling turned on. But even if I turn on transparency mode and I turn my head, I can still like get that effect. It's really, really cool. It's hard to come across on camera. But if you own a pair of AirPods Pro, or you've heard about spatial audio and you kind of know how the feature works, once you try it out, it's a crazy feature. It works really, really well. And it doesn't really, it slightly diminishes like the way, or distorts, I guess would be a better way, distorts the way your music sounds. Things sound a little bit more hollow in a way, but it's not like bad. And like once your ears get accustomed to the way spatial audio works, you'll probably want to leave it on all the time. It's just a really cool feature, the way you can turn your head and like the music follows you. It's really, really cool. And Apple even has like an Apple Music playlist dedicated to songs that are optimized for spatial audio. So if you get a chance to try out spatial audio on a pair of AirPods Pro, definitely do it. The experience is crazy, and it's probably one of my favorite features about the AirPods Pro. Now, most of what I've talked about with the AirPods Pro so far has been pretty positive. Good sound quality, the noise canceling and transparency mode are ahead of its class, and the fit and comfort is really, really good. I've had no issues with battery life, can quickly recharge with wireless charging. So what's the catch? And what don't I like about the AirPods Pro? The answer is, there's actually a few things that I don't like about the AirPods Pro, particularly because I know that the Pixel Buds solve every single complaint about the AirPods Pro that I have. The main complaint that I have about the AirPods Pro is that there's no volume control, which might not seem like the biggest deal in the world. You'll just say, oh, just turn up the volume on your phone, right? But if I'm riding my bike and I have my phone in my pocket, let's say I forget to put it on my bike mount, right? I've got my phone in my pocket and I want to lower the volume. With the Pixel Buds, all I have to do is reach a finger up and swipe back on the earbuds. And because they are locked in really secure, swiping back isn't gonna knock the earbud out of my ear, right? With the AirPods Pro, if I wanted to raise the volume, I have two options. I can ask Siri to do it for me, which is annoying because I have to take the time to actually ask, hey Siri, turn my volume down. Which, it works, but it's not very quick. Or I have to reach into my pocket and find the buttons on my phone and lower the volume. I really wish that Apple had incorporated some sort of touch mechanism on the stem of the AirPods where I can just swipe down to lower my volume and swipe up to increase my volume. It would have been such a simple thing that would have really improved the user experience of the AirPods Pro. And another thing that I don't really like about the AirPods Pro, which goes back to controlling them, are playback controls. So to play and pause on the AirPods Pro, you squeeze the stem once, which, it works. It's not like the feature doesn't work. It's just that when they're in my ears and I reach up to squeeze the stem, if I don't squeeze it just right, one, it doesn't work. Or like if I'm a little too low, sometimes it doesn't work. And two, the fact that when I squeeze it, if my hand shakes a little bit, I might, move the earbud out of place, and then it'll fall out, which happened over the few weeks of testing that I did. I would reach up to squeeze it, and I would kind of miss a little bit, and I would knock the earbud loose a little bit. Whereas with the Pixel Buds, they're locked into my ears for one, and all I have to do is tap to play, tap to pause. Swipe forward, swipe backward. And that becomes even more cumbersome when you're skipping tracks. So to skip tracks on the AirPods Pro, you squeeze the stem twice. So 1, 2. And when you're squeezing the stem twice, your arms flex a little bit, your wrist, and it's just like, it's easy to accidentally pull the earbud out when all I'm trying to do is skip a track. And started playing out my speakers a little bit. Doing 2 squeezes isn't very intuitive. It kind of feels, I don't know, it just doesn't feel natural. Whereas, we interact with our phones with swipes and taps already. So with something like the Pixel Buds, when all I have to do is just tap twice on my ear, or tap once to play, tap twice to skip forward, tap 3 times to skip back, those controls feel more intuitive than squeezing stems on a pair of earbuds. I'm not sure if everyone has a similar issue with the control method on the AirPods Pro, but for me personally, I don't really like having to control the AirPods that way. Those are probably my 2 main gripes with the AirPods. Other than that, I really have no issues with these whatsoever. They definitely exceeded my expectations. They perform far better than I thought they would when they first came out. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to try them out, because I definitely look at them differently. I definitely see them as a much more impressive product than I initially thought that they were. Do I think that they're worth $250? That's a little harder for me. The Pixel Buds are $180. At least at launch they were $180. These currently are not on sale anymore. They're only selling the Pixel Buds Series A, which I think is a little bit disappointing considering that these do offer a few key things. But $180 at launch versus $250 at launch. When you just compare the launch prices, the only difference between the Pixel Buds at $180 and the AirPods Pro at $250 is noise canceling. So that's a 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250. That's a $70 difference between the launch price of the Pixel Buds and the AirPods Pro. $70 just for noise canceling, when the Pixel Buds offer passive noise isolation and a similar, very, very slightly similar effect with adaptive sound. I don't think I would be willing to pay $70 more for noise canceling and an inferior control system. Now these go on sale quite often. You can pick them up for closer to the Pixel Buds launch price, 180, 190, closer to 200. For a price like that, I would definitely pick up the AirPods Pro. I would say it's definitely worth it at a lower price, but for $250, especially when you can also just pick up a regular pair of AirPods that are almost no different except for the lack of noise canceling, I think $250 is still a little bit of a stretch. I thought that when they came out, and I do still think that a retail price of $250 is too much. But for a slightly lower price, the AirPods Pro perform really, really well, and I really have no major complaints that would be if I had to recommend a pair of AirPods Pro to someone, I probably wouldn't bring up either one of those things when I'm recommending them to them. Because, if you're buying AirPods Pro, you're probably an iPhone user, and you just want a simple product that works. The AirPods Pro does that. The Pixel Buds are a simple product, they do work, but the nuances, the touch controls, those are things that iPhone users probably wouldn't care about in the first place. So overall, my thoughts on the AirPods Pro after my brief little experience with them, I definitely enjoy them. They're a solid pair of earbuds that go great with any iPhone, and then on top of that, they can sync between your Apple Watch and your MacBook. You've got that whole Apple ecosystem integration. Would I use them with an Android phone? Most definitely not. You're missing out on features like spatial audio, and there's a lag when you take the earbuds out. They don't pause. If you really, really want to, you can. Noise canceling and transparency mode work just fine because they're not really dependent on the phone. But if you're looking for a solid pair of earbuds for your iPhone and you're not really too worried about how much you're going to spend, definitely pick up the AirPods Pro. That's going to be it for this video, guys. A little bit longer than I kind of wanted it to be, but I did have a couple things that I just wanted to go over and really get in depth with my experience with the AirPods Pro. This was a product that I completely dismissed when it came out, and so I figured it would be good to give it a fair chance, really get into the experience, which is why I'm glad I had an iPhone to use with them. Really get into the experience, really take advantage of everything they have to offer, and see what I think about them, and overall, I think they're a great product. If you guys want to see me do more stuff like this, where I try out a product that I've never even considered before, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to do that. That's actually kind of what I'm doing as I work with the Sony WF-1000 XM3s. And I have some very, very interesting thoughts about these earbuds. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure to like it and subscribe for more content like this. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.